I thought this game would be like, okay, we're gonna spend like maybe 20 hours and never play this game again. Like have some fun and leave. But God, no, I'm wrong. This is gonna be hundreds of hours. Remember this. If you have never heard of the game, I don't know how, but if you haven't, the game is called Far Far West. It's like cowboy robots that are fighting against undead skeletons that are constantly rising from the ground, while you're also doing like some cool objectives, which we'll talk about in the future. I'm what? Let me see. 49 hours in the game currently as I'm recording this. And I'm gonna play lots more, because this game is so much fun. Why is the game so much fun? Well, basically the game loop, which is what drawn me and made me enjoy this game so much. First thing first about the whole loop, there's secrets everywhere. Every map, you have tons of things to find. There's very like obvious secrets, so to speak, where you just meet, like you see some graves on the map, you can see a bunch of things that you just need to find. Now there's also things that never get mentioned, they're not part of quests, because yes, you can also do quests when you go into the maps. You need to like hit certain targets and then you get like medals. You need to collect like 4 medals, then you open something, and that's a secret. And what's so cool about those things is not only do you like enjoy solving the puzzle and like understanding like whatever there is to find, you also get like a joker, which is basically like a card. We're going to talk about them a little bit later. Basically like a card that allow you to modify your gun or your player in a certain way, which often is going to be very related to the quest that you have just finished or the secrets that you have just done. It is going to be like a one-time thing though, so once you finish like solving all the secrets on the map, that's pretty much it. I mean, on next round you can just solve the same thing again, and I think you get experience for it. Like if you do more secrets, like more things you do throughout the level, you're going to get more experience for it. But that's pretty much it. Like once you solved it, it's solved. Like I said, you can do it again, but it's not the same thing anymore. Now I want to talk about the bigger thing, which is basically the builds. What's going to keep you playing for the long term, at least for me, that's going to be it. What is it? Well, you can play a huge variety of builds, but there's a small caveat here. It's only for like medium to low difficulties. Once you start to get like into the hard, very hard, like the nightmares, then you start to slowly like narrow down the builds that you can actually play with, because you need more survivability, you need more movement speed, because you need more specific things. This automatically like shuts down other builds, so you can only play like certain things. There's like certain things that you must have in order to do those difficulties, which is fine, I guess. I would have loved this to be a little bit more open, but you can never have like truly 100% balance. It's 100% fine for me. So basically for the builds, you have 3 pillars for the whole entire like build thing. You have your jokers, you have weapons, and you have spells. Weapons is pretty much, it's obvious, you know what weapons are. You get multiple weapons, you get like a sniper, you get like a shotgun, you get like pistols, you get secondaries. There's a whole bunch of things. Spells are basically just skills that you gain. You use them, kind of like Skyrim. The more you use them, the more experience they get, they level up, and you get like more powerful spells. You have, I think, currently like 5 skill trees, if I'm not wrong. Like for utilities, for offense, these kind of things. Pretty nice. They also combo with one another, which is pretty freaking amazing. There's a ton of combos. I still don't know all of them. I just know like a small variety of what I already played with. But I feel like there's going to be tons of shit to try. And just remember, next time they add another skill tree, they don't just add another skill tree, they add another skill tree and all the combinations with every other like skill tree that already exists. So exponentially things are going to increase more and more and more and more. Obviously they need to work harder on every skill tree because it has to, well, combo with everything else. So we're probably going to see like longer and longer like updates, windows, I guess you'd call them. Now finally for the jokers. What are the jokers? Basically jokers are kind of like your cards, like your modifiers for your character, like your passives, I guess you would call them. That's the best way to call them, passives. And they are kind of roguelike, but not really roguelite, not even that. Because there is like there is jokers that are going to stay on your character. Those are your build. On your character, on your weapons. Those are going to be like stationary. Those are going to be permanent. Whatever you place in there is going to stay there forever until you remove it. And then once you go into the level, you can also get jokers through killing enemies, finding them in chests, these kind of ways. So there is kind of like a roguelike to it. So you also get like jokers inside the level, but mostly it's really not, because when you die, that's it. You just still have the same build and everything, you just restart the level. So those are basically the jokers. 3 pillars, very important. All of them have like certain progression to them. You can level them up, you can prestige them even. You can only prestige currently for additional stats points, and I think in the future you also be able to get skins for like more, what do you call things called fragments and things like that. But currently you can only like prestige them for stats, and that's it. The prestige itself is basically your long-term progression. It's what's going to keep you playing for a very long time, because to prestige you have to level up the weapon to level 100, then it goes back to level 1, but you don't lose any of the slots or the stats that you currently have. You simply can level it up again, and then you increase, like, you can either do like increase the max stats I can have, which makes it so you can, because I think at the base you can use I think like 20 points to upgrade your weapon, but then you can increase it to like 21, 22, up to a certain number. And you can also do the same thing for joker slots, so you'll be able to insert more cards to modify your weapons even more, right? But this goes I think only up to 2 more additional joker slots, and every joker can take from 1 to 5 slots depending on like the rarity of the joker. So there's a lot of build variety, a lot of fun things you can do with all the systems together when you like combine them together. The spells though, I would have loved to have a little bit more to them, because it's very like one-dimensional, at least in my opinion. You just you play, you use the spell, and that's it. There is no, I would have loved like the skills themselves to have a little bit more like depth for each skill tree. The combination is nice, but mostly what all the combination does, especially for offensive spells, is just going to be like more damage, like area damage, like explosions. That's pretty much it. If you combine acid and fire, explosions. If you combine acid and electricity, explosions. That's kind of similar. It looks a little bit different, which is kind of nice, but it gives you the same effect. So it is what it is. Now, how fun was this game? How fun was this game? Let me tell you. On a work day, I thought, okay, I'm gonna play like 1 or 2 hours. No biggie. I'm gonna go to sleep, gonna go to work. Pretty simple, right? I was up to like 6 a.m. on a work day. 6 a.m. on a work day. This game is that much fun. You constantly want to do, yeah, just one more round, just one more. Just this time it's gonna be like done. This time I'm gonna be finished. Like this time my build is gonna be done. I'm gonna get everything I need. This is the max level I need. I have all the things I need. But then you play more and more, and you're like, maybe I can optimize this by doing this thing instead of that thing. Then you change something and you run again. You're like, close, but that's not quite it. So you keep changing it, and suddenly it's 6 a.m. This is why I'm saying this game is so much freaking fun. I do want to talk a little bit more about like the higher difficulties, because from what it seems like now, obviously I will get a different perspective once I play more. It seems like very hard and Nightmare seems to be a little bit more tactical. You can't just run through the whole thing, at least until you get like a very like great build, like a meta build, because everything you go is gonna come with you. Higher difficulty in this game is actually way better than other games, because what it does here, it increased like the enemy density. Instead of just making them all like SpongeBobs that take like a tons more damage and you have the same like 5 enemies. No, this time you have like tons more enemies and they all have the same amount of HP, which I freaking love. It's so much better when people do difficulty this way. It's so much more enjoyable rather than just pumping like one enemy, like a mag full of them. It's just so much more fun. Now, this is nice. There's a problem. Some enemies don't really scale well with numbers because they stun you. They do like, I don't know, AoE pushes like the dynamite guys or the snakes. When you start to increase their numbers, you don't get like a fun, I don't know, flow to the combat. You get like, you start playing, stop, start playing, stop, start playing, stop. I personally really didn't like the snakes. At least I think the best way to be like cut the time that they silence you like in half. Basically what the snake does is that they grab onto you. You have to slap them like 3 or 4 times. It takes like 2 seconds, which is not really a ton of time. But in this game it's a lot, especially in Nightmare difficulty, because when you grab onto them, you can't heal, you can't shoot, you can't reload, you can only move. You can't use your skills, you can do nothing. So it really combos well for the enemies with the snipers, for example, which you have to shoot or they shoot you. And especially on like nightmare difficulty, there's gonna be like a huge scaling with a whole bunch of snipers, a whole bunch of snakes, a whole bunch of elite enemies, and all of them combo together is pretty much just gonna annihilate you, unless you have like a very great build that's gonna kill them before they kill you, or you have like insane survivability. Those are basically your two options. Like the in-betweens is what I'm saying. There is no like huge build variety on the higher difficulties because you need very specific things. I don't know, maybe I'm just not good enough in the game. That's why I'm saying that this is just the starting video. I'm going to talk about this game once I play like a few hundreds hours. So the future of the game, I can see very bright future. Currently there's a little bit of like roughiness where there's some bugs, there's some memory leaks, you see some FPSs. I haven't crashed yet, but I had like, if you keep the game open for a long time, you play it for many hours, then you start to see like the FPS drop in, and you start some hitches, some like slight freezes here and there. So you do have to close the game like from time to time, but beside that, pretty much nothing. I did see like one of the bosses, the saloon boss, like he didn't do an animation. There's like a thing where he does like, he spreads like a circle, like a green circle, and he basically didn't do the animation for like the 3 or 4 first like circles, but then after that he was fine and everything was fine. It just like happens once in a while, but those are bugs, fixes, and it's an early access project and things that are gonna get fixed over time. Now, I do think this game is going to get a huge cult following in the future because this game is really enjoyable. It's really fun. For me, it was kind of like a Helldiver Deep Rock Galactic mix, kind of somewhere in between, where the things I wanted from Helldivers, I'm kind of getting from this game. I would love more, like, I still would love to play like a good Helldiver game, but this game's pretty much like currently filling that void. And I have to say to the developers, good job, because you did something very nice. It really looks like they didn't expect to succeed this way, and you can even see it in the way they speak on their Steam like updates they do, or on the Discord. Like the way they speak, it seems like they're pretty like regular dudes, made a game, expected it to, like, you know, they make them some money and keep them doing work, but they didn't expect it to succeed this much. And I just gotta say, good job, you deserve it.